with Spirit of Matter. Here talking about Jupiter turning direct. So the ascendant is in 29 degrees Aries with Mars in the ninth house in 26 degrees Sag. And the midheaven is in 18 degrees Capricorn, here in the 10th house, with Saturn in the 12th house in 3 degrees Pisces. Jupiter in the second house, 5 degrees Taurus, going direct, while it is separating from a sextile to Saturn, square to Pluto, and applying to a trine to the Sun and to Lilith. Moon is in the anaretic degree of Leo, opposing Saturn. So, and Venus in first degree Sag. So we have this nice reception between Venus in Sagittarius and Jupiter in Taurus, although they don't see each other. Jupiter is now direct. Now, it's not only that Jupiter is direct, Saturn is already direct, Neptune is already direct. Pisces, everything Pisces in your chart is moving forward. Okay? So any thoughts, any circumstances, situations that have been mind-boggling for you regarding to values and possessions, philosophy and connections, partnership and worldview, traveling and creative arts, all of these things are now receiving another play, okay? Because what happens with the retrogrades, we are feeling certain situations are happening like a movie, okay? You have this movie, then the planet goes back, then you go over it again in a different way, and then you go over it again when the planet is direct, okay? Think about, now Mercury is retrograde, so think about exes. Then Mercury is going through the shade period, you might think about an ex, then is retrograde, the ex calls you, and then by the time it's moving direct, either you separate with that ex or you realize that you really need to try again. And those are the type of situations where we have a direct, retrograde, and direct. Now we have them with Jupiter. Okay? So, on a mundane level, the issues of freedom and possessions, freedom and land, freedom and women, liberation and women is having another turn. But this time people have had time to reevaluate. Venus is about validation, okay? Jupiter is about choice and optimism, okay? So for example, let's say you went out of a toxic relationship. Venus remedy is, darling, you are not imagining, okay? Jupiter is about, yes, here are the red flags, and here is where, if you see this red flag, then here are the green flags that you can say, oh, this is a healthy relationship, okay? So you need both the validation that you are not imagining and you are not to blame for what happened. And here are points of interferences. Here is what you still can do and practice that you haven't tried before to create your better reality for yourself, better relationships for yourself. So the combination of Venus and Jupiter is something that's happening in the sky right now. People are receiving more validation and therefore are able to see more points of interventions, okay? If we talk about atrocities like Belgium, like Ukraine, like Israel, then now we see suddenly we hear voices that were not accessible to us before, like Palestinians from the West Bank calling for Palestine to legalize gay marriage fully and compete with Israel on the basis of more human rights, acknowledging the rape that was in 7th of October, and seeking to acknowledge Israel and acknowledge Palestine. So these voices, and to outthrow Hamas, these voices are suddenly visible, okay? So for the women that were close to these atrocities, they felt all the women in the world abandon us, but oh, look, our Palestinian brothers and sisters that dare to speak up, They validate us, they acknowledge us, they understand that there is trauma to both of these peoples, and the ways of atrocities and war crimes are not their ways. Okay, so suddenly we hear those voices, they are accessible to us, and the validation is more accessible, it's more visible, and it can come from unexpected places with Uranus in the Taurus, in retrograde in Taurus. Okay, so this is just one case. Okay, or people. I saw a beautiful meme about of a woman soldier wearing Hamas uniforms and the hashtag greenwashing. Okay, so greenwashing of women rights. Okay, a woman that wear Hamas uniforms is a woman who is supporting rape of women. She's not true, not to Hamas, not to Isis, which is Ishtar. Okay, the goddess Isis. Okay, it's not the goddess of rape and beheading. It's the goddess of war, yes, and of love and fertility. And the color green that represents Venus. Okay, so this is greenwashing. This is a meme that I would not see when Jupiter was retrograde. Oh, and Venus was in Scorpio. Okay, we have a nice combination that adjoins the philosophy, the moral philosophy, philosophies around women, and calls out that which has been playing on the agenda. I also seen Israeli lawyer that I know for a very long time, who calls out the people who force women who are raped to give their testimonial, because when a person has been through atrocities, it's up to them to decide when they talk and with whom they talk. And it's not up to people to take their suffering and trauma and use it like a political card. Okay? So now we are starting to see those situations returning, but with direct Jupiter, direct Saturn, direct Neptune, okay, and Venus in Jupiter's sign, while Jupiter in Venus sign. Okay, many discussions over women rights, fertility, pregnancy planning, okay, philosophies of liberation and the relation to women rights. Okay, even LGBTQ, because of the presence of Uranus and Taurus. Okay, LGBTQ rights. Okay, here Palestinian people saying, oh, Israel is not fully acknowledging gay marriage. Let's do it first. Let's legalize gay marriage first. Let's compete with Israel in a way that is actually good for the Middle East. Okay, suddenly we hear such voices, that the voices were there all the time, but there was a mob blocking these voices, so people could not communicate with each other. Now things are dissolving, and now we run into the same situations, the same conflicts, but with Jupiter direct, Saturn direct, Neptune direct, and the receptivity between Venus and Jupiter, albeit the aversion, albeit they don't see each other, okay, they're in conjunct. So also things to do with appearances. People are more outspoken, okay, things to do with appearances, rethinking something, clothing, all the things that I talked about when I talked about Venus in Sagittarius. They are going to be receiving another appreciation, another look in general. Now for the 12 ascendants, well, what does it mean to you? So let's begin with Pisces ascendant, because this is the ascendant that has been stricken the most by this conglomerate of retrogrades. Okay, we had Saturn in your retrograde in your first house, we had Neptune retrograde in your first house. When they both went direct, we still had Jupiter retrograde in your third house. Now you're feeling release. There's a sense of renewed optimism that is actually based, okay? Venus is squaring Saturn, but is still releasing from the trine to Neptune, and she's sextiling Pluto, okay? So you're not in ideation situation. You're seeing reality more clearly, and your path is moving forward, okay? You can move forward. On a physical level, you're going to feel that sense of appreciation for your well-being, appreciation for your path, for walking in your path. You really walk your path, you walk your talk, okay? Jupiter ruling Pisces is the feet in the sign of the voice, okay? Taurus, you walk your talk right now. You get the chance to walk your talk more so than before. So this is very exciting news for you. Sagittarius is your 10th house. Okay, you get to be more visible. You get to speak up. Your public image becomes more dominant. Yes, you still have Mars here in your 10th house, absolutely. But you get to speak up more. Your philosophy is becoming more evident. Jupiter in your 3rd house, so you might enjoy around your siblings, around your neighbors. You might have a renewed sense of joy, even when you take the bus to the central station and back. You might get to express yourself more. You really walk your talk when it comes to what you do. If you grow in a garden, there might be renewed optimism or great yield, okay, maybe starting to harvest. Anything more, 3rd house, a means of communication. Perhaps it's time to get your driving license or to get a car, or to rethink transportation as well, to small distances and long distances, siblings, relationship with siblings. It can become public right now. So if you have a sibling, you see I have the ruler of my 6th house in my 3rd, and you see all these photos of my pets. I get really beautiful captures of my pets here. I'm looking at them and they're just so beautiful. There's a great yield to the fruits that you grow, whether metaphorically or physically. Okay, this is Pisces ascendant. Great relief, great joy, rejuvenation. It's a great time to do manifestations as well. I know the moon is decreasing, but still to set intentions for the new year is actually good for you. Ascendant Aries. So Ascendant Aries, the ruler of your 12th house and your 9th house is in your 2nd house. For you, there was a kitten sticking its head into, into a yogurt cup, and then lifting its head up with a yogurt cup, and now it released it. It's just such a jolly time, literally. So for you, something around your mental well-being is being released. Okay, something that troubled you, that went bad, and it had affected your income, your food, and your expenses. So now it's just you still have Saturn and Neptune in your 12th house. Okay, you can't go around this, but there's just something that's been released from any blocks that you've been having to receive validation, even for your mental state or mental crisis, and as well as you might get to travel more, or you might get to change your worldview to, if you had limiting beliefs, because you weren't validated, you may have had limiting beliefs that you needed validation to get rid of. Now you get this validation, you can let go of outdated beliefs and outdated values. Okay, you get to relive certain experiences, but this time with the resolution. And this time with the point of moving forward. You might grow your expenses, or you can experience loss because of your mental health, but it can actually be where you spend money on, or I think it's going to be more like something is released for your mental health, and that affects, it's kind of like an abundance block that have been released now. For Taurus ascendant, so Pisces is your 11th house and Jupiter is in your 1st house, now going direct. And now your social life, your crowdfunding projects, your dreams and goals, your colleagues that are more like professional colleagues, your social networking situation, okay? Social network people that are not like siblings, but they have been like siblings. No, there have been more personal relationships growing there, maybe even partnerships. And now you're moving forward with your worldview, and you could be attending a conference from your living room, okay, from your sofa. You could be a speaker in a conference, or the conference comes to you. It can be like a Zoom thing, but there is just something about your social agendas that really affect your path, and it has been on hold, or it has been, you had to review stuff, and now you kind of get to move forward with your dreams and goals, and that affects your really vitality. Okay, you're more optimistic right now about your dreams and goals, and you're not in illusion. Okay, you find out a really a practical way to manifesting. The Venus is still sextile is still square in Saturn, but this is an incarnation test. You're about to have dreams and a dream and goal realized um, for you, and it can have to do with investments as well. And now it's just the final incarnation test. When this Venus crosses Saturn, okay, you will have had something incarnated, manifested, perhaps even a relationship, trauma clearing, abundance blocks cleared, okay, because Venus is in your eighth house, so abundance block cleared, and there is an incarnation test that Venus. So don't be too frustrated with this Saturn right now. It's going to sift and sort what's real for you and incarnate what's real for you. It's true to all signs, um, also true to you. Ascendant Gemini. So, Gemini, Pisces is your 10th house, and Jupiter is in your 12th house. So, I have seen some Ascendant Gemini colleagues. Shout out to Kyra Ryberg, who's also been on my podcast years ago. So they're saying, oh, I'm so glad Jupiter is turning direct to finally walk out of my 12th house. So again, for you, yes, Jupiter is still in your 12th house, so it means the issues of the 12th are big, but the 12th house is also the bedroom, okay? Is also traveling to a long distance. And I think you are more concerned about that Uranus than about the Jupiter. Okay, not to be a party pooper, but it's really more about this. Okay, your public image is going to move forward more, but it's also going to be more visible to you. If you have ways that you've been undermining your public image, then 12th house charity is excellent for you. Jupiter Taurus, 12th house charity, two women who are in sex trafficking, two women who are sex workers. Okay, because 12th house is bedroom, but also loss. And we understand that that can be with atrocities. And Jupiter is about charity. So giving charity to women, or if a woman, let's say, wants to get out of the situation of being in sex work or sex trade, if you are encountering such women, then buying products from them, or giving them money, or investing in them, or giving charity can be very, very remediating for your career and your public image. Okay, granted that this is not washing, okay, granted that you're not like a sex offender that doesn't take responsibility, but, puts money from one pocket to another. If it's genuine and you genuinely want to improve upon your self-image and experience kind of less loss when you practice your work or your career, then 12th house charity can be wonderful for you. Also for you, if there are refugees from Ukraine, from Israel, okay, as well, then especially if they are religiously persecuted. because Jupiter Taurus here can be religiously persecuted people from Taurus countries like Ukraine, like Israel, and even Belgium. Okay, even Belgium. So to donate to these people, a charity to these people, people before funds, okay, not funds, people, if you can find them directly, or even to raise awareness to prosecution of like Ukrainians outside of the country, or anti-Semitism or stuff like that, religious persecution of women. Okay, if you can do such charity, it will be very, very useful for your 10th house. Yes, you can experience some loss when you do this, but it's remedial. Okay, it means that you rather lose this than kind of like the people who say, "Oh, I rather lose followers because I'm pro-Palestine, but I stand for my values." If you do this with your 12th house, but with Taurus related values, so women and religion, okay, religiously persecuted women, sex workers, Ukrainian refugees, Israeli refugees. And there are, or Jewish people, because it's kind of like anti-Semitism, it's religious persecution, that can be useful for you as 12th house charity. Again, this will help you. This will help you to, and what you're more concerned about is this Uranus in your 12th than this Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter just magnifies what already is. It's a benefic. It magnifies things so that you can take care of them. If you are having hidden enemies now, it can be due to religious and worldview reasons. Okay, and Jupiter can also be spouse for certain people. So again, you need to see where is this place where you're not seeing your spouse, or something that is blind to you, is your spouse trying to show you something. Then perhaps you want to be extra. You use in your communication, especially now with the Mercury retrograde in Jupiter sign, use in your communication to reveal maybe they have some hidden sexual fantasy that they're ashamed to say, or maybe that you have been taking care of your career and you forgot your spouse, okay? Because Jupiter is ruling about your career. And if you're a woman, it can be, and have a man's spouse, it can be ruling your spouse. So, and it's the ruler of your 7th house as well. So this is where the solution to your problems can be, okay? And it can be hidden wealth. 12th house is also hidden wealth. And think of the situation, okay? Somebody has been shy to say their sexual fantasy. Now you tented it. Now you consume it, and now you have deeper intimacy and deeper joy in the bedroom. So it's not a bad thing. But yes, there are also losses and things that you don't see, in kind of like hidden enmities. Ascendant Cancer. So for you, Pisces is your 9th house, and Jupiter is in your 11th house. So now things are going to move more forward in terms of your worldview and the way you show yourself publicly. But publicly, not like the 10th house, more like if you have a podcast, or if you have a social network, or if you speak in a conference, your world, you have a teaching now for the world, okay? And you have a dream and goal that is related to this. Venus is in your 6th house, so you might be having some enemies even. Okay, because 6th house is also house of open enemies, so you may have work enemies, and they can be women, because of worldview. But at least now it is becoming more clear. Why is this person in enmity to me? Oh, because of my beliefs, because of, and how do we deal with this in an optimistic way? Okay, maybe I have reality check to do, maybe they have reality check to do themselves, okay, because there is a reception between Venus and Jupiter. The 6th house can also mean you have a new start to do with your work. And if your work has to do with being in a conference, giving talks, teaching something, public speaking, then you can have a new beginning there. Okay. Also, if there were misunderstanding, or I saw a post yesterday about someone who says, oh, if I wrote something and I was completely wrong and everybody told me I'm completely wrong and I acknowledge that they were right, should I apologize in a comment? Should I have a new post or should I erase this post? What should I do about this? Okay, so you might be asking yourself the same thing. Because after Saturn's been going direct, Neptune is going direct in your ninth house, now Jupiter is going direct, and you have changed your worldview and updated your values. Now you want to make it public. So you might be asking yourself, how do I address this? And that can be optimistic to resolve this enmity that you have in your sixth house. Who is this woman who is pissed at you? And it can be work related or at values related, okay? Maybe you have been sexist, maybe you have been not inclusive in some way, or maybe you have been compassionate with cruel people. So now you can get the chance to kind of say who you are and what you believe in, and have a teaching a public that is going to be very benefic and very valuable to you, and it might create some new enemies as well, okay? Because you might be saying, okay, this is what I think, I don't apologize for this is how I mean it, and that might mean that somebody when it comes to if you are employed or have employees, might be in conflict of interest with you, but at least you know where you stand right now and you have a way to respond to this more consciously. Another thing that's going on, you might be traveling to do some conference, okay? And you might be traveling with your pets as well, because sixth house Jupiter is ruling your pets, or you might be having like a vlog you think about the Zoom conference where suddenly the cat joins in, or the dog joins, or the horse joins in. If you Sagittarius, you're growing a horse. So yeah, that can be the case for you. So things are moving forward. You're gonna get to have connections. You're gonna have public appearances. Yes, you might have some new enmities, but this is a part of life. Ascendant Leo. So for you, Pisces is the 8th house, and the Jupiter is in the 10th. So what's going forward for you is you have become aware of how do 8th house matters of traumas, the things you swept under the rug, partnerships and assets and energies, and even occult studies or inheritance and investment have been affecting your public image, your career, or your relationship with one of your parents, okay? Now you get to make the arrangements to tackle this. Okay, it's still continuing to affect your life, but now you get to talk about this publicly. It's because now it is public. You cannot do anything about this. As long as Jupiter is in your 10th house, what you've swiped under the rug is now what you're known for. Yes, so this absolutely can be a sex scandal or a hidden habit that you have, or some ideas. Okay, you may have been unconsciously sexist or unconsciously racist, and now you crack the joke, and it's everybody heard this. So now you get the chance to address this. It's still going to be affecting your life. But now at least you can become more aware, more informed, and you can be publicly addressing this. You could also be the type of person who publicly addresses their traumas, and you could be having religious traumas with displacement that affect your career and your public image. Venus is now in your 5th house. Okay, so it can affect romantic partners. It can be like a sex scandal. Yes, hopefully not like with children, anything involved. But it can something, and a sex scandal can be like a hidden affair. It doesn't have to be like violation of sexual boundaries per se, but it can be a hidden affair. Now you get to publicly address this. Venus in your 5th house means that your public image is a little bit in your creative endeavors, and if those are romantic, then you're gonna be aware, when you take your clothes off, you're gonna be aware that you can't escape. You can't escape the scandals involved. And with Uranus in your 10th house, there are scandals involved anyway. So you get to have a more optimistic view about how to address these things. If you are a public image, then you understand that who you sleep with is going to end up on the news, especially with Mercury retrograde in the 5th house, but also your relations with your children, especially your daughters right now, or your first child, your first daughter, your first son or daughter, can be a topic of discussion, can or affect your relation with your parents. And you can become more aware of how you address your childhood wounds and how they affect your relations with your children. Now you're in the position of your mommy or your daddy with your child. So it can also manifest in this way. And it's a bit public. Okay, so it's visible. The kind of parent you are is visible to the world. It can be an inspiration, but it can also be a scandal. Ascendant Virgo. So Taurus is in your 9th house and things are going smoothly. You can get to travel right now. Your ruler is still retrograde and is retrograde in your 4th house. So you'll get to have a clear-sightedness about how you feel and what you believe about relations, about the worldview and your relations, how your upbringing has affected your worldview is very evident right now with Jupiter in your 9th house. And there are things that you are addressing. So Mercury is still retrograde, which is good because you get to re-express yourself with your parents regarding to your home, your family of upbringing, your housing, your foundations, and you re-establish those foundations with a clearer worldview. Okay, so situations, you're going to run into these situations again now with a clear worldview, and also any surprises that you may have had. Okay, because Jupiter is co-present with Uranus, so you're having a lot of surprises. Your worldview is drastically changing. Every now and then you get a new thing to think about that you didn't think about before. So now you are in a phase where you have the philosophical data to re-establish communication and build your foundations anew. And your worldview is now highly affecting your home life, okay, the home that you are creating. Okay, your Christmas dinner. I wouldn't like some people would want to be a fly in your Christmas dinner if you're celebrating Christmas this year or Novi God. So yes, this is going to be some tense conversations, but much needed reassessment. And things are moving more smoothly. Even if they're conflictual, at least you know where you stand. Ascendant Libra. Yes, for Ascendant Virgo, of course, your partner is involved. Yes, it's Jupiter is ruling your 7th. So your partner is very much involved in everything that is happening, everything that is affecting these things. And it can be like your partner and your parent can have more of a communication to establish right now. And you want to make sure that you are not like the unicorn in your family because your partner is now getting along with your parent better than you. Okay, so you want to make sure you establish yourselves. Yes. Ascendant Libra. So Pisces is your 6th house. House of health, enemies, pets. Yes, what I didn't say for Ascendant Cancer, because it's also like health, then they can address a health issue better now. And also so the ruler of your 6th is in your 8th. So you are one of these ascendants who are like Ascendant Gemini. Oh, I can't wait for Jupiter to get the F out of my 8th house. And again, I remind you, you're more worried about Uranus than Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter is just magnifying the problem so that you can address it. Okay, Uranus is not magnifying, it's just creating a lot of mess, okay, everywhere around. And will continue to do so until it goes to Gemini. So If you have been having such enemies that sabotage your long-term investments and partnerships, okay, this issue is becoming so big that you must address it. And now you will address it. And they can involve your siblings because Jupiter is also ruling your third house, okay? So if you are in a situation, you're gonna have to pull the Libra card, okay? And the Libra card is the Great Empress, okay? You think about the Great Empress, that is patient, is kind, is assessing, reassessing, but when she addresses things, it's case closed. Okay, so you can bring the case closed upon whichever siblings and whichever enemies try to kind of brew the dish of your eighth house. Okay, anybody that tries to take you out of your possessions, out of your investments, out of your financial material security, granted that it was well earned, okay, granted that you are not there out there, mistreating people, then you can turn the card over, okay? You can sever ties with family members if needed be, if they're doing such crooked things, yes? Alternatively, okay, you could be benefiting by having a nice relationship with your sibling that help you take care of your pet, and now you have savings, okay, because Jupiter can increase your savings. Your joint assets, you may have joint assets with your siblings actually right now. If you're having a vlog, you kind of have like a Broody the dog kind of thingy. So the sixth house might not be an enemy, but actually a pet. This is why it's so good. If you any and all like pets, then tending to pets, and if you can afford it, adopting a pet can be very beneficial to your health. And this is also health matters. If you have to invest in your health, or if you are invested in health-related things, then you all might be changing your investments, okay? Which of these companies is actually breeding health and which is breeding health problems? Okay, maybe you were invested in Moderna or in Pfizer, and you now kind of like you have been reassessing your investments, and rightfully so. Okay, because you've been invested not only in Pfizer and Moderna, you've been invested in rape. Okay, because Viagra's, this is what they're used for. So you might be rechecking what is up with things, what is up with my 401k, what is up with my life insurance. Do you have a life insurance? Okay, you might be going over this with your sibling. If you have a sibling that is helping you with doing accountants, then again, you want to make sure that there is no enmity between you. Health issues can be resolved right now and addressed. They might require resources. And the neighbor or a sibling can help, but also growing a garden or kind of like growing your neighborhood, doing nice projects, nice things, and so on and so forth. Eighth house charity can do you well. But people think of eighth house like therapy. Here you must be cautious because your therapist can mingle with your siblings and your enemies too much. Okay, I wouldn't trust a therapist with this yoga. And not in all cases, but with this yoga is not so good. Ascendant Scorpio. So your fifth house is being released. Saturn is direct, Neptune is direct, and Jupiter is in your seventh. You're one of the ascendants that could be meeting, some casual romance. Not that there's such thing as casual with Pisces. Okay, there's no casual Pisces. Okay, even if Pisces think they are casual, they are eluding themselves. But for you, some romance can bloom into something more, and this time it's real. Okay, so if something incarnates, if you have a situation where you're like dating someone and you want to get together, but this doesn't work, that doesn't work, but you still keep seeing each other, when it will work, you will understand that it is time that you were falling in love with each other. This can be the situation for you. Okay? Yes, I have a juicy story. I had a friend and she would have no problem like to get in bed, first date and so on and so forth. Then she met someone and they were trying to be together, but he was too drunk. And they just slept together, but they couldn't like actually sleep because he was too drunk. And in the morning, he made her breakfast and so on and so forth. And she tells me, "Oh, I met this nice guy." And I was like, "I don't want to hear about this. I'm sick of hearing about your heartbreaks." I didn't say it like this. But eventually, this turned out to be her husband. So they didn't spend time sleeping with each other, but they actually spent time getting to know each other. And he was too drunk to have sex. And then they actually got to know each other, and they are still married right now. So you could be having such a situation, okay, where you're not, Saturn is delaying the fifth house affairs for you, or delaying even commitment for you, so that there is a test of incarnation here. Now, because Uranus is in your seventh house, it can do the opposite, It can be, but Saturn can be delaying divorce for you now. If you're like, I think to leave my husband, I think to leave my wife, I this, I that, I don't get this, I don't get that, then Saturn is here to remind you that this is a temporary stage and Uranus is not done being in your seventh house, and you shouldn't break up just yet. Wait until this crisis will pass, and you will have a renewal. But you're definitely, the position of the ruler of your seventh, it's in your second house. You might be doing some business together, or you might be meeting someone through your vocation. But you can have values. Your values are compatible with your partner's values. Very good time. Don't be scared of this Venus square Saturn, okay? If your partner is a bit critical at this time, wait a little bit, okay? It might not mean that that they are a toxic partner. Wait a little bit and see what happens when Venus releases from the square to Saturn. If your partner criticizes your appearance, then shush them up. But anything other than like blatant stuff, then you want to wait it out a bit, because this is temporary. It's not who they really are on the long run, and this is it's an incarnation test. Okay, so it's both incarnation test for make up, but also because of the presence of Uranus for break up. And it would be around values and worldviews if you do break up. Now, if your values are genuinely not compatible, you will break up. Of course, it is a divorce. But if your values are absolutely compatible, they might not be similar, they can be compatible, okay? Especially now, if your partner has been reassessing their values, okay, with Jupiter in your seventh house retrograde, now it's direct. Your partner has been changing their value, their worldview, and now you get to meet an updated version of your partner in terms of their value. Okay, also yours. Do you meet? Okay, and this is the incarnation test. Do you meet in a way where your values now are still compatible? If yes, then the incarnation test here can be, if you've been dating, you can go from dating to committed. Okay? Even with Uranus. Because Uranus is about define something. You define social norms. When it's the defined things for you to get together, you will get together. When it's the defined thing for you to divorce, you will divorce. Okay? And it's not a doggone thing. Okay, my parents, when they divorced, nobody divorced. Okay, so for them to say, okay, we're not continuing a relationship, we obviously are no longer happy together, okay, and we've taken the time, we've taken the years, so they divorced. Okay, so this is Uranus. You don't have to be scared of Uranus. It's not going to cause you divorce when it's not the right thing to do for you. And this is important. So don't be scared of this. All in all, very good time for your partnership, for your relationship. You have children. You feel like your child is like compatible partner to you, not in a sexual way, of course. I mean, that you can rely on them if you want to take on a project together, or if your child has a creative hobby, or you have a creative hobby. Let's say you are a writer, then your child can help you with maybe they are painting, okay, something like this. And so they can paint the cover of your book. And it's a great time. Also to conceive a child. If you're trying to get pregnant, this might work. Yes, this might work because the ruler of the 15th, the 7th, can also mean I'm having babies with my partner. And you understand that if there is conception problems, it's more about, is this the right thing to do? And this is like an incarnation test. So yeah, ascendant Sag. So not unlike ascendant Pisces, you're also receiving some relief, but it's not so accessible for you because you have Mercury retrograde in your first house, now in the 22nd degree, okay? And Mars in your first house. So you're still having these issues, kind of like with, getting your bum struck against the door or something like that. And kind of like getting wounded or accidents and stuff like that. But what's going well for you? First of all, Pisces is your 4th house. The ruler is in your 6th. Yes. If you had to make your home more adjustable because of a health issue, you might find out that bringing a pet in can improve that if you like pets. Okay, if you can treat a pet well, because pet is remedial for 6th house. Okay, although with pet can create enemies, but it can reconcile them as well. So in this case, Jupiter is emphasizing health situation for you, but at least now it's kind of like it's become so big that now at least you're beginning to address it. Okay, so whatever it is, there is reason to be joyous that you are addressing this now. You're paying attention now. And the reception here means that you can no longer ignore how your health or your work, your labor, okay, because 6th house is also labor, your service to others, affect your body. Have you been volunteering too much? Okay, you now have a health problem because of this. Okay, and it can be that you volunteer to escape some sort of kind of like stress or something like this, then now you have to address your coping mechanism. But it's optimistic. You will make it. You will address this. With Mars, you can use it to sever ties. If you're having the sweet tooth, okay, you can sever ties with that sweet tooth. You can cut that sugar, cut that caffeine. And you can do that in a way that releases you from unhealthy habits. If you are being physically active, and you are right now being physically active, then you're going to be addressing that. There can be an accident that will force you to train, but with moderation. Okay, because Mars in your first house, you may have been going overboard. And some wounding relating to athletics can also happen and force you to do the movement in the correct way. Okay, if you've not been warming your body up before exercise, now you may be wounded in a way that will force you to warm up to exercise. Yes, so those are the kind of issues that you're addressing. Ascendant Capricorn. So Pisces is your 3rd house. And Jupiter is in your 5th. You might be sibling up more with your child. For example, if you have not been seeing your child a lot, so while Jupiter is in your 5th house, you might be living around the neighborhood of your child, or your child is coming to the neighborhood. But Venus is in your 12th house, so to tackle 12th house issues, you might be coming to visit your child. Okay. Or if you have a romantic partner, or not romantic partner in the 7th house sense, but kind of like romantic encounters, then you might be more like in their neighborhood. You might be meeting or sleeping in their neighborhood, and it can actually assist your 12th house there. But also you must be aware that with Venus in your 12th house, your child or your romantic affairs can awaken some hidden stresses or hidden mental challenges that you're reminded of. Okay, you could, for example, be visiting your child, and while you are dining with your child or preparing a meal, you have memories of your childhood. Okay, and they can affect you subconsciously. You remember a dream that you had. So it's about the solution and kind of like the ignition of a situation because of this reception. But now this issue again is becoming so big that you address it. What is the issue? Okay, Venus is ruling both your 10th house and your 5th house. Have you been doing for career something that is not your hobby? Yes, your child or romantic lover might address this issue with you and tell you, my darling, I cannot live with you when you are not doing for work what you are doing creatively. You are not a person that I can live with if you are not expressing yourself artistically and making a living out of this. If you're trying to work in something that is for your safety and not something that's creative for you, because the ruler of your 10th house is the ruler of your 5th. Okay, so it can be a lover. You might be, in bed with your lover, and your lover points it out to you that you are way more sexually expressive and free when you are doing the career of what you actually love doing. Okay, you also have Uranus here in the 5th, so you might have like affairs. It can be even someone who's a lover and you're like have a secret affair, but they tell you this, and so this is why you're together. Okay, so if you come to me for a reading, Shirley, is this my true love? Is this my twin flame? It's like, what? Well, it may be to do with liberating what you do for fun and to make money or to make career of something that you do for fun. Yeah, I'm a writer, and they told me this, they told me this conversation that you had, where did you have it? Oh, well, it's not nice to say it. Come on, in the bedroom. Okay, this is why you want in the bedroom for this person to tell you this. All the rest, it doesn't matter. This is why you are together. Maybe you will break apart, but what they said you need to do, and that's why you went together. Maybe it's more than that, yes, but this is sufficient for you to have this affair with this married man when you are a married woman. Okay, this why. So that's what's going on for you. Jupiter is making it. It's not, think about the elephant in the room, and then it's a bigger elephant. Okay, there is a huge elephant in the room. This room is the bedroom, and you can no longer ignore that. This elephant rules your hobbies or fertility and your career. If you've been trying to have a child and you don't have a career where you do what you like for fun and make a living, and this is your career, okay? Fertility issues. This is your fertility issues as well. Start being creative, and for you, it rules career. If you're trying to be an accountant, where you obviously want to paint something, to write something, to express your values, and have a creative ability to do so, and to make good money out of it, because Libra is your 10th house, okay? And you work as accountant, okay? And you're trying to have a baby. Good luck. Not going to happen. Okay, address this, then it can be your fertility or conception. And also if you're like, why am I never dating the right man or the right women? Why am I always dating these women that are like this, that are like that? Well, these crazy women with Uranus, they can be crazy a bit. So for you right now, Jupiter is making the problem this big. This big. How have my dating partners affected my mental health? And how is my mental health affecting my dating partners? But Venus, that's ruling your fifth, is also ruling your 10th. Okay. Have you been doing what you are creatively doing as a hobby? Is your job fun? If your job is not fun, your 10th house, your career, not your jobby job, your career, if your career is not fun, okay, how do you expect, like if you don't practice fun, and fun is also ruling your career, okay, how do you expect to meet the right partner? How do you expect, and I'm talking even for sex, because fifth house is casual sex. Not that there's anything casual with Taurus, but it's a fixed sign. It's a fixed earth sign that like to be sexually, depending where Venus is. But if Venus is not, it's not. Am I going to have good sex for you every day for the rest of my life, or get out of here? So this is more Taurus. So, but yeah, it's kind of like, why am I not meeting these people? Well, how have you been practicing your fifth house? What have you been practicing? What is fun for you? Okay, and and is it your career? Because this is your career. Okay, you're gonna meet the right people, and with Uranus, you might sleep with someone casually, and you can have this conversation in the bedroom, or your child tells you this, and so on and so forth. Ascendant Aquarius. Ascendant Aquarius, Pisces is in your second house, and Jupiter is in your fourth. So, second, fourth. Are you looking to buy a house? Are you looking to make house? Your ruler is in the second. Okay, you are reality checking your values, your income, and your expenses. This is affecting your relationship with your home. Actually, the way I see it, things are going well for you. Venus is in your 11th. It's good time. You got your mind right, okay? You got your values right. You got your mind right. You got your values right. You got your balance, okay? Your income. If you have been not been charging enough for your services, now you might think in a situation, well, when I'm giving this service, with how much income through how many months do I want to be able to buy land, to buy a house? And for that house to be a place where I can have a conference in, or a dinner in, or a party in, or even a wedding. And so I should raise my standards. I should charge more for my services. You might be raising the bar, okay? And again, Jupiter is it can create a little bit of a problem. You might be making money from teaching something, or from religious services or spiritual services. This is Pisces, yeah. And now you sit at your Christmas dinner, and you might be sitting at the Christmas dinner. What is Venus ruling for you? It rules the 9th house. So there is somebody comes from abroad, okay, you meet them at your home at the Christmas dinner, or you travel abroad to the Christmas dinner, and you see they have a house with a pool, and you, let's say, a tarot reader, and they're a psychic reader, and you live in this condo in the city, and they are having a house with a pool in the suburbs, and you're like, the fuck is this? Okay, this is the reality. It's not about envy. It's about, hey, I need to charge more for my services, because I can be living with the house and the pool with my talents. I'm talented. It's going well for me. My clients love what I do. I need to change up my model, my business model, so that I can have a house, that I can have a party in, that I can have a conference in. Okay, so you might be thinking about these things, and you might be raising the bar, and this issue is going to be magnified right now. Okay, especially like this, you're going in your Christmas, you're living in this condo, you're a tarot reader, they're a psychic reader, you're doing pretty much things that are quite similar. They live in a house in a suburb with a pool and all, from the income of their job. and you're living in this condo, both of your clients adore what you do separately. Okay, what's changed here? It's the pricing. You need to raise up the bar. But Saturn can also do contraction, okay? It might be, well, I don't have any clients. Well, this is a world war. Perhaps you want to change up your business model so that you can accommodate for, and it's actually contracting the pricing. So if you've been overpricing, Saturn's going to bring it down. If you've been underpricing yourself, Saturn may be raising the bar, and it may show you the house that you could live in if you have been valuing yourself correctly. More things to do with that. Well, the key expenses. So you might get realistic about how much you spend or your mortgage. Conversations about values with your family, and these things affect, yes, they affect also your dreams and goals. You might be having kind of like a public appearance, but of 11th house, like networking, and there can be a sibling there if you're working with a sibling. Not a sibling, but a family member, okay? So a person from your home, it can be like family business, then you go to a conference or a networking event. That can also occur under these skies. And I think, yes, we said all the ascendants. So, with all these ascendants, we now get the overall view of this. Jupiter is either releasing something, moving something forward, or making a problem that big that you can no longer ignore. Now you also have the solutions to address this. In most cases, yes, there is the Venus square Saturn. Don't be afraid, it's an incarnation test for you, okay? For example, if you're dating someone and they're lovely and they're good in bed, but then they start criticizing your appearance, are you waiting for me to cheat on you and then cry that you are the sorry baby? No, if you don't like how I look, then we'll sleep with other people, okay? And that is something that can be. But other than that, Saturn is the incarnation test where it can just be sifting and sorting. How do we manifest this? This is possible. This is not possible. Releasing the final edit. It can be the final edit of a book, the final cut of a movie, and then it's ready to release. So, as Mercury goes direct. So, yes, I hope this was helpful.